What is real? How do you define reality? If you're talking about what you can feel, what you can smell, what you can taste and see, then real is simply electrical signals interpreted by your brain. Today, you will meet Morpheus, the god of dreams, and embark on a journey. But first, you need to know yourself. Protocol, initiating, personal file, access. Code, VAR729, name, Dr. Nora Keene, age 34, occupation, neuroscience researcher, consciousness studies department, expertise, REM sleep and lucid dream mechanics, status, chronic insomnia, 47 days without proper sleep, latest vitals, cortisol elevated 340%, cognitive performance down 67%, hallucination frequency hourly. Last note, I can no longer distinguish what's real from what's a dream. My reflection in mirrors is delayed. Time flow is broken. Help me. Layer 0, the waking world. Before the collapse, the cold neon lights of your laboratory burn your eyes. Each flicker makes reality flicker too. The EEG recordings on your desk, monitors, countless papers. Everything is blurry. Or maybe it's your eyes that are blurry. You can't tell anymore. 7 days without real sleep. Only micro-sleeps, 2 to 3 second lapses of consciousness. Eyes open but brain offline. You're standing, but are you walking or are you dreaming? There is no boundary anymore, the clock on the wall. You're watching the second hand. But is it moving or is it frozen? Every time you look, it shows a different time. 3:47, you blink. 03:51, you blink. Narozo 3:33. Time has collapsed. You have a coffee cup in your hand. Cold. You can't remember how long it's been in your hand. You try to put the cup down, but you have no finger coordination. Your motor cortex isn't responding. The cup slips from your hands. It's falling, but it doesn't hit the ground. It's hovering in the air, wobbling. Coffee droplets suspended in air, frozen in time. Temporal parietal junction, a voice echoes. Deep velvety, coming from everywhere and nowhere, where your temporal perception is processed. Right now, that region is no longer functioning properly. You've worn it down for 47 days, Dr. Keene, and it's finally responding to you. Your heart races, or do you just feel it that way? You lift your head, but your neck muscles are slow, as if you're moving underwater. You see him, standing in the middle of the laboratory. Long black coat, elegant posture. His face, actually you can't see his face clearly, as if it's perpetually slightly blurred out of focus. But his glasses, those glasses gleam even in this dim light, as if they have their own light source. But most striking is what floats around him. Thousands of tiny light particles, dream dust motes, gold, silver, blue, purple tones, constantly spinning, spiraling, reaching toward you in a dance, hypnotic. Each particle seems like a memory, a dream, a possibility. Who? You whisper, but your throat is dry. Who are you? I've carried many names, the voice says. Prince of the Oniroi, architect of consciousness, guardian of sleep. He approaches, his footsteps silent. But you, as a doctor of neuroscience, can call me by a more practical name. REM regulator, homeostasis restorer, synaptic balancer. He smiles. You can see this expression now. Or in ancient tongue, Morpheus. Morpheus, you repeat. The word feels strange on your tongue. Familiar yet foreign. The god of dreams. God? He raises an eyebrow. No, Dr. Keene, I'm merely a process. An anthropomorphic representation of evolutionary necessity. You've tried to block me for 47 days. Caffeine, nicotine, dopamine stimulants, blue light bombardment. And now you see, you cannot stop me. Because I am in fact you, the laboratory around you begins to undulate. The walls seem to breathe. This is a hallucination, you say. A side effect of sleep deprivation. Temporal lobe hyperactivity. Dopaminergic dysregulation. Correct diagnosis, says Morpheus. But incomplete conclusion. Yes, this is a hallucination. But hallucination doesn't mean it's not real. Hallucination is a reality created by the brain, and the brain cannot distinguish between reality and hallucination. Both consist of neural patterns. He comes beside you, takes your hand. His touch feels real, warm, human. Days, he whispers. The world record for sleep deprivation is 11 days. You've lived 4 times that record. You know what happens: immune collapse, cardiovascular stress, neurotoxicity accumulation, memory formation impossibility, psychosis, and finally death. My work, you murmur. I need to finish. Your work? There's bitter compassion in his voice. Dr. Keene, you can't construct simple sentences right now. The chains of thought in your head are breaking. Your prefrontal cortex is non-functional. What work? Silence. He's right. What were you working on? Did you start in the morning or evening? What day is today? You were trying to see me, Morpheus says gently. To solve the mystery of sleep. To control lucid dreams. To map the layers of consciousness. But you forgot one thing. Some things cannot be understood without being experienced. The map is not the territory, Dr. Keene, and I cannot be mapped. I must be lived. Morpheus steps back, takes his hands out of his pockets. In his left hand is something, a small glowing blue crystal sphere. Inside, electrical lightning dances, patterns of alpha waves, 8 to 13 hertz, the frequency of wakefulness. Blue crystal, says Morpheus, his voice serious like reading a verdict. If you choose this, you'll wake up now. You'll drink coffee. Take modafinil, even amphetamine. You'll last another 24 hours. Maybe 48, you'll publish your papers. Go to conferences. Become famous. The scientist who lives without sleep. The sphere glows, tempting, powerful. But on the 50th day, he continues, his voice darkening. Your organs will fail. Your heart rhythm will become chaotic. Micro-inflammations in your brain. Protein plaque accumulation will become unstoppable. And psychosis, real psychosis. Mirrors will attack you. Shadows will follow you. And finally, he pauses. Finally, you won't find sleep. Because you'll be too awake to sleep. Like the end of fatal familial insomnia. Not even coma comes, just consciousness slowly fragmenting. He extends the blue crystal toward you. You could reach out. So easy. Or, he says and opens his right hand. There, a red crystal sphere. Inside slow rhythmic waves, the slowness of delta waves, 0.5 on 4 hertz, emitting a calming, peaceful red light. Red crystal, says Morpheus. Surrender. Letting go of resistance. Trusting me. That is sleep's natural process. If you touch this crystal, you will fall. Lose control. And I will take you. To the depths of the delta ocean. To the stages of the REM theater. To the layers of consciousness. His voice softens. Almost poetic. I will show you why evolution chose to render us unconscious every night for hundreds of millions of years. Why even Drosophila flies sleep. Why without sleep there is no learning. Why dreams are not random chaos but organized therapy. Both hands extend toward you. 2 crystals. 2 paths. But warning, Dr. Keene, says Morpheus. This is a choice. No turning back. If you choose red, you'll see everything. The depths of your consciousness. Your fears. Your traumas. Memories you've tried to forget. The darkness sleeping within. But also light. Creativity. Renewal. True rest. Which will you choose? Your hand trembles. Blue is tempting. Control, wakefulness, familiar ground. Red is frightening. Loss, the unknown, depth. But you know one thing. Instinctive, visceral. Blue is death. Slow but certain. You reach out. To the red. The moment your finger touches the crystal, the world explodes. The laboratory dissolves, pixelates, turns to matrix, fragments into particles. The floor disappears. Gravity disappears and you're falling. Morpheus's voice echoes around you, within you. Welcome, Dr. Keene. Welcome, we're down. You're falling, but this isn't an ordinary fall. Not physical. An ontological fall. You're falling from existence itself. Darkness surrounds you, but it's not empty. Fragments fly by. Pieces of memories. Word crumbs. A laugh from your childhood. The smell of your first university experiment. A kiss that never happened. Theta waves. Morpheus's voice guides. You can't see him, but you feel him, falling parallel to you. Favorcoid 8 Hz. Thalamic reticular nucleus modulating cortical arousal. Sensory gating beginning. The external world is closing its gates. An image appears. You see yourself in the laboratory, leaning back in a chair, eyes half closed. The body is still there. But you're no longer there. And one stage, explains Morpheus. The liminal space between wakefulness and sleep. Hypnagogic state. Here boundaries are unclear. Real and imaginary, past and present, self and other, all merge. The fall accelerates. Geometric shapes spin around you. Spirals, fractals, Mandelbrot sets. These aren't your creation. They're spontaneous activity of your visual cortex. Phosphines. Random firing of retinal ganglion cells. There, says Morpheus. First hallucination. But hallucination is a poor word. These are endogenous visual phenomena, the brain seeing without external input. Just like in dreams, a flash of light. Bright, blinding, flash of light, says Morpheus. Classic hypnagogic imagery. Then sounds, whispers, echoes, familiar voices but no words. Auditory hallucinations. Temporal lobe activity, and suddenly your body, like an electric shock. Your muscles contract. Whole body at once, violently. Hypnic jerk. Morpheus shouts, his voice now powerful. Myoclonic spasm. Sudden loss of inhibition in motor cortex. The falling sensation intensifies, as if you're really falling hundreds of meters. Stomach-dropping feeling. Fear. Panic. Wrong signal from pontine reticular formation, continues Morpheus. Brain interprets sudden drop in muscle tone as falling, evolutionarily left over from tree-sleeping primates, awakening reflex when in danger of falling. But then, relaxation, muscle tone decreases, the fall softens, slows, parasympathetic activation, Morpheus's voice now soft, vagal tone increasing, heart rate slowing. Let yourself go, Dr. Keene. Resistance only brings pain here. Under your eyelids, your real eyes, in the body lying in the laboratory. Slow eye movements, slow rolling eye movements. This is the signature of N1, says Morpheus. Eyes rolling uncontrollably. In wakefulness, your eyes saccade, quick, goal-directed. Here they drift, dreamy, hypnagogic. Your surroundings now misty. Gray-blue fog, thick, moist. No depth perception, no up or down, just space. But in this space, there's something, shadows, unfamiliar forms. They're moving, slow, dreamlike, deeper form of hypnagogic hallucinations, says Morpheus. Now walking or floating. Beside you, some see faces here, some see creatures, some see gods, all. The brain entertaining itself. A face appears in the mist. Familiar. Your mother? No, someone else. Who? Fusiform face area showing hyperpatternity without stable input, explains Morpheus. Your face recognition system sees faces even in non-faces, like seeing Jesus' face in clouds. Pareidolia. The face approaches. Mouth opening. Does it want to speak? But then it dissolves. Disperses like smoke. First test completed, says Morpheus. You've passed the hypnagogic stage. Didn't fear. Surrendered. Now, the real journey begins. Below you, if there is a below, a door appears. Massive stone ancient. Inscriptions on it, Greek, but you can't read them. The gate of sleep, says Morpheus. Beyond N2, entry to true sleep. Are you ready? You don't answer, because you can't. You have no tongue anymore, only consciousness. The door opens, and from within light bursts forth, sinusoidal undulating, the rhythm of EEG waves. You fall into it. Layer 3. Sinusoidal corridor. Spindles and exploration. N2, 12 to 16 Hz. Beyond the door, you find yourself in a long spinning corridor. The walls are alive, literally alive, breathing, contracting, rhythm like a heartbeat. Morpheus appears beside you. Now looking more solid, more real. N2 stage, he says. 45-55% of all our sleep is spent here. Beginning of true sleep. Now if asked, are you sleeping? You'd say yes, but at the same time you could also say, no, I was just resting. Liminality persists, you start walking. Your steps silent. The corridor seems endless. On the walls, suddenly sharp lines appear. EEG tracings, electroencephalogram, and between them sudden bursts. Spindle-like forms, sleep spindles. Morpheus points. Para 1216 has synchronized activity between thalamic reticular nucleus and cortex. Look, there's another one! Indeed, a new spindle pattern emerges on the wall. Lasts 0.52 seconds, then disappears. These spindles, explains Morpheus, touching the wall, are sensory gatekeepers. They block sounds, lights, touches from the outside world. Watch, let me summon one. Morpheus snaps his fingers. A sound comes from the end of the corridor. A phone ringing. In the real world, he says, a phone is ringing next to you. But here, the sound enters the corridor but weakens, fades. The spindles on the walls intensify, swallowing the sound. Spindles absorb the sound waves. You continue sleeping. This is why some people can sleep through storms, thunder. Their spindle activity is strong. You continue walking down the corridor. Your footsteps echo strangely. With each step, time seems to slow. K complex is coming, says Morpheus. Watch out! Suddenly a giant wave rises from the walls. Sharp, high-amplitude EEG pattern. K complex. The wave comes toward you and passes through you. For a moment, you completely stop. Time freezes. Your consciousness silences, then it starts again. K complex, explains Morpheus. Brain's spontaneous high-amplitude wave. Function not fully known, but theories exist. Memory consolidation. Response to arousing stimuli. Cortical down state. You start seeing doors in the corridor. Hundreds of doors, each different. Each door. A memory, says Morpheus. Approaching a door, written on it. First bicycle, age 7, he opens the door. Inside you see little Nora, riding a bicycle, falling, crying, then laughing. Hippocampus works through the night, says Morpheus. Daytime experiences are processed here. Replay. Which are important? Which will be permanent? Which will be deleted? He closes the door. Opens another. Organic chemistry exam. University. Inside you see yourself, stress, fear, then relief. Emotional valence is an important factor, he explains. Neutral memories are usually deleted. Emotional memories, fear, joy, surprise, are more likely retained. Amygdala tags, this is important, safe. You go deeper into the corridor. Now the doors aren't just from the past. There are doors to the future too. Wait, you say. You can speak now. Future memories. Prospective memory, says Morpheus. What do you need to do tomorrow? What meeting next week? Will you remember to call your mother? These are also processed here. Prefrontal cortex and hippocampus coding future plans. You stop at a door. Written on it, Morpheus paper unpublished. Morpheus smiles. Ah, your work. Still there, unfinished. But look, during N2 your brain is trying to solve the problem. You open the door. Inside, yourself at a desk writing. But dream version, more creative, more fluid. You're making connections. Connections you wouldn't normally make. Sleep-dependent problem solving, says Morpheus. Edison, Mendeleev, Kekulé all found solutions in sleep. Because here logical constraints loosen. Creative connections become possible. You close the door, but a note falls into your hand. Hippocampus to cortex information transfer. Spindle-sharp wave ripple coordination. Spindles don't just block external sounds, says Morpheus. They also facilitate communication between hippocampus and neocortex. Short-term to long-term memory transfer. This is why a good night's sleep consolidates learning. You reach the end of the corridor. They are descending stairs. Dark, deep. The path to N3, says Morpheus. Delta's realm. My father's house. Hypnosis temple. He turns to look at you. Are you ready? Because down there, it's quiet. Very quiet. How quiet? You ask. So quiet, he says. Your consciousness nearly vanishes. You don't dream. No awareness. Just existence. Pure, deep, primitive existence. You step onto the stairs. Begin the descent, and with each step, the world becomes a little quieter. Layer 4, ocean floor, temple of renewal, N3, delta 0.54 has. As you descend, the temperature drops. The air thickens, as if you're entering underwater. Light diminishes. You can't even see Morpheus anymore, but you feel his presence. Delta waves, his voice echoes, but now the timbre is different, deeper, more resonant. 0.54 Hz, slowest waves, synchronized oscillations of the cortex. Here, neurons are like a chorus, all firing together, all falling silent together. On-off delta rhythm. The end of the stairs comes. Your foot touches the ground, but there is no ground, there's water. Dark, deep ocean, temperature. Below 36.5 degrees C, 36 degrees C, 35.8 degrees C. Body temperature descending to minimum. Thermoregulation, says Morpheus, now just a voice. A body temperature, part of circadian rhythm. At night, core temperature drops. This is also melatonin's signal. Cold body, deep sleep. You enter the ocean. Your feet, knees, waist. Water is not an obstacle to you. It's like part of you. Slow wave sleep, the voice continues. Deepest stage of human sleep. Very hard to wake here. Alarm can sound. Earthquake can happen. But you won't wake. Because thalamus has completely locked the gates. Cortical activity minimal. Water now at your chest. You're breathing. But breathing has changed. Slow, regular. 12-14 per minute. Rhythmic, almost mechanical. Parasympathetic dominance, says the voice. Sympathetic system, fight or flight, stopped. Vagal tone maximum. Heart rate. Let's count, Dr. Keene. How many per minute? You feel your heart. Slow. So slow. Thump, thump. 38? You guess? 35, says Morpheus. bradycardia, slower than an athlete's heart. This is a state close to hibernation, body and energy conservation mode. Water now at your neck, but you're not afraid. On the contrary, you're peaceful, because here, Morpheus says gently, you are safe. Evolutionarily, our most vulnerable moments. Can't move, not aware, can't react. But the body uses this time for repair, for renewal, for survival. You sink. Water goes over your head, darkness absolute, and then you start to see your body. At microscopic level, cells, trillions of cells, and all working. Growth hormone. Morpheus's voice now comes from everywhere. Growth hormone pulse. From anterior pituitary, maximum release during slow wave sleep. Look, you see bones, osteoblasts producing new bone tissue, muscles, myofibril repair, skin, epidermal regeneration. Why do children sleep so much? Asks Morpheus. Because they need to grow. Growth hormone is released here. Adults get less deep sleep because their growth is complete. But repair is needed forever. Deeper into the cell interior you zoom DNA, double helix, but there are damaged regions, replication errors, free radical damage, DNA repair machinery, says Morpheus. During day, cells are busy with division. Night is repair time, apoptosis, clearance of damaged cells, autophagy, digestion of cellular garbage. You watch a cell die, programmed cell death. Membrane swells, fragments and macrophages come, cleaning crew. Death is part of life, says Morpheus, and sleep regulates this cycle. In sleep deprivation, apoptosis is disrupted. Cancer risk increases because mutant cells aren't cleared. Now you see the immune system. T cells, B cells, NK cells, all proliferating. Immune function, explains Morpheus. Cytokine production, IL-1, IL-6, TNF-alpha. These are also sleep promoters. Why do you sleep so much during infection? Because immune system wants energy for battle. You see the heart. Coronary arteries relaxed. Blood pressure low. Smooth muscles without tone. Cardiovascular recovery, says Morpheus. Throughout the day, heart is under stress. Sympathetic tone, vasoconstriction, hypertension. Here, everything relaxes. Endothelial repair. Arteriosclerosis slowing. And then, brain neurons. Billions of neurons. Between them, a fluid flow. Transparent, rhythmic, wave-like. Glymphatic system. Morpheus's voice almost a whisper. Brain's garbage collection system. During the day, neurons work. Use ATP, produce metabolic waste. Beta-amyloid, tau protein, alpha-synuclein. These toxic proteins are seeds of Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, dementia. You watch the fluid waves. Cerebrospinal fluid, CSF, flowing through brain tissue, sweeping away toxins, carrying them to lymph vessels. But glymphatic system is only active in deep sleep, he continues, because here astrocyte cells shrink 60%, interstitial space opens. Fluid flow increases 90%. Cleaning begins. You see a beta-amyloid plaque, toxic, sticky, but glymphatic flow dissolves it, carries it, removes it. Sleep deprivation, says Morpheus, his voice now somber. Glymphatic clearance disrupted, plaques start accumulating. 20-30 years later, dementia, Alzheimer's, forgetting. You didn't sleep for 47 days, Dr. Keene. In your brain right now, toxic protein levels are critical. A few more days and irreversible damage. You feel fear. But then, relaxation. But you're here now, says Morpheus, his voice now warm. And cleaning has begun. Look, glymphatic waves intensify. Toxins swept away. Brain glowing, renewing. This is hypnosis' gift, says Morpheus. Repair, renewal, preparation for the next day. On the ocean floor, in silence, in darkness. You rest. You don't know how much time passes. 10 minutes? 30 minutes? 60? Time flows differently here, says Morpheus. Delta sleep, typically 60-90 minutes in your night, longer in first cycles, decreases toward morning. Slowly you start moving in the water. Upward. Deep sleep ending, says Morpheus. Brain slowly activating. Transition from delta to theta, and then above on the water's surface you see a light. Red-orange, bright, magical. REM, whispers Morpheus. Theater. Showtime. You break through the water's surface, and before you, incredible, a massive, magnificent theater. Like an opera house, but more, infinite. No dome. The universe opens directly. Galaxies, nebulae, star clusters. The stage wide, framed with red velvet curtains, and most surprising, no seats. You're on stage. Morpheus appears beside you, but now dressed differently. Tuxedo, top hat, bow tie. A theater director, holding an elegant baton. "Welcome," he says, smiling. REM sleep, rapid eye movement, or my favorite name, paradoxical sleep. Contradictory sleep. Why contradictory? You ask. He waves his baton. Above the stage, a giant EEG screen appears. On it, waves. But these aren't delta, they're desynchronized, says Morpheus. Low amplitude, mixed frequency. Gamma, beta, theta, all mixed. Just like in wakefulness. Your brain right now is as active as when awake. In some regions, even more active. Brain images appear on screen. PET scan, fMRI. Colors, red, orange, yellow, activity. Limbic system, Morpheus points. Amygdala, emotions. Hippocampus, memory, hyperactive, burning like fire. Anterior cingulate cortex, emotional regulation, active. Visual cortex, vision, active. In occipital lobe, even 30% more activity than wakefulness. But, he pauses, pointing to prefrontal cortex, there, cold, blue, silent. Dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, logic, planning, critical thinking, off, sleeping. That's the contradiction, says Morpheus. Your brain is awake, but your logic is sleeping. That's why he waves his baton again. The stage illuminates and figures appear. Your mother, there on stage smiling, but also young, 25 years old in a way she never was. Temporal mix, explains Morpheus. Hippocampus mixing memories from different time periods. Your mother died at 60, right? But here, young, because your memory of her youth is stronger, emotionally encoded. Someone else appears beside her. You don't recognize them, never seen them, but somehow they feel familiar. Composite face, says Morpheus. Fusiform face area combining different faces. Maybe a barista, an old friend, a TV character, all in this new face. And then Morpheus changes. Suddenly he becomes your father, then an old professor, then yourself but 10 years younger, then a version you've never been, maybe who you could be in another life. I can take 1,000 forms, he says, his voice changing with each transformation. Because your brain is now in pattern recognition mode. And faces are the most important pattern. As social primates, we are face experts. You look at the stage. Beside your mother now is a door, but orange. And from it, an ocean flows. But the ocean flows upward, defying gravity. Laws of physics, Morpheus laughs, don't apply here. Because parietal cortex, spatial reasoning, is weak. No logic, no proof, no questioning. You can now fall, fly, walk on walls, and it seems normal. Because dorsolateral prefrontal cortex is sleeping. It's the critic. Without it, everything is possible. You watch the stage. Your mother waves at you. You want to run to her, but your body doesn't move. Atonia, says Morpheus. Critical feature of REM sleep. Subcorrelates nucleus in pons completely inhibiting your motor neurons. Glycine and GABA raining down on spinal motor neurons. Result, no muscle tone, paralysis. Why? You ask. Because Morpheus becomes serious. If you act out your dream, dangerous. You'll fall out of bed, hit your partner, harm yourself. Atonia is a protective mechanism. But, he continues, sometimes it fails. REM behavior disorder, RBD, atonia disrupted. And people live their dreams, physically dangerous condition. On stage, your mother disappears. In her place, a dark figure appears, not familiar, but frightening, approaching you rapidly. You want to run, but your body is locked. Can't move, panic, your heart rate accelerates, you can feel this. Your breathing becomes shallow. Amygdala hijacking, says Morpheus. Fear responds, but motor system can't respond. This is the nature of nightmares. Threat exists, but you can't escape. The figure reaches you, touches your face with its hand, and soft, warm, it transforms. No longer frightening, now you. Projection, says Morpheus. Your fears taking your own form. When accepted, they transform, the stage changes. Now you're in the laboratory, but very different. Colors too vivid, light coming from strange angles. There's an experiment on your desk, but what experiment? Look, says Morpheus. This is problem solving. Your brain trying to solve the problem you couldn't solve during the day. You approach the experiment. Chemicals, equipment, but everything's slightly wrong. Dream version. Kekule saw the benzene ring in a dream, a snake eating its own tail, says Morpheus. Mendeleev completed the periodic table in a dream. Edison slept polyphasically. Power naps, hypnagogic solution moments. Your hands dance over the experiment. You're making connections, mixing chemicals in ways you'd never do in real life, and a result. Bright, golden liquid. Creativity, says Morpheus. REM sleep increases divergent thinking, distant connections, novel insights. Because prefrontal cortex is silent, no censorship. Absurd ideas equal value to brilliant ideas. You turn to the stage. Now very crowded, hundreds of people, familiar and unfamiliar. Social simulation, hypothesis, explains Morpheus. Dreams are a rehearsal of social scenarios. Conflict resolution, empathy, threatening social simulation, evolutionary advantage. Someone approaches you, angry, shouting, but you don't understand the words. Wernicke's area, language comprehension, decreased activity, says Morpheus. This is why in dreams sometimes people are talking but you don't understand what they're saying. Or you try to read but text is jumbled. Indeed, a book appears on stage. You open it, pages, readable but they change when you read. Words dancing, classic reality check, says Morpheus. For lucid dreamers, in dreams writing is not stable, because visual cortex is constantly reconstructing imaginary writing. You write now, he continues, are not lucid, not aware this is a dream. How can I become aware? You ask, Morpheus smiles. The right question. Because lucidity, conscious dreaming, that's where real magic is. He touches his baton to your head, and a lightning bolt. Suddenly, you know, this is a dream, you are sleeping, in the laboratory leaning back in a chair. And this is just a simulation, but there's a difference. Now you're in control. Layer 6, lucidity, the power of conscious dreaming, lucid REM, the moment of awareness, like an electric shock. I'm dreaming, you say aloud. Morpheus applauds. Lucid dream, part of your frontal cortex, just a small part, has awakened. You look at the stage. Figures still there. But now, you can command them. You raise your hand, and the figures turn toward you, waiting. Control, says Morpheus. In lucid dreaming, you're both actor and director. This stage is yours. You snap your fingers. The stage changes from laboratory to a forest. Giant trees, bioluminescent mushrooms, a stream. Perfect, says Morpheus. Synchronization increased. Look, on-screen brain image. In prefrontal cortex, a small region, part of dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, red. Active, frontal gamma activity, he explains. 2540 Hz at Voss and colleagues showed in 2009 during lucid dream moments, 40 Hz gamma band increases in frontal regions. Meta-awareness, thinking about thinking. But, he continues, you're not fully awake. Still in REM sleep, Atonia continues. Limbic system active. Hybrid state. Hybrid consciousness state. You walk in the forest. But instead of walking, you decide to fly, you jump, and there's no gravity. You rise above the trees toward the clouds. Classic lucid activity, says Morpheus, flying beside you. Flying. Why does everyone want to fly? Because in daily life it's impossible. But in dreams, motor cortex can imagine, visual cortex can visualize, vestibular system can feel. You rise to the sky. Among the stars you touch a star. Warm but doesn't burn. Sensory simulation, explains Morpheus. All your senses, sight, touch, hearing, taste, smell, created by your brain. In real world too. But there, external input exists. Here, completely internal. You slowly descend. Return to ground. Question, you say to Morpheus. If I can do whatever I want here, why doesn't everyone have lucid dreams every night? Says Morpheus, because lucidity is difficult. Prefrontal cortex naturally sleeps during REM. Awakening it requires practice. How? There are techniques, he explains. Mild mnemonic induction of lucid dreams. Before sleep, repeating, I will be aware in my dream. Intention setting. Wild, wake-initiated lucid dreams. Direct transition from wakefulness to REM. Watching hypnagogic images while staying conscious. Reality checks. Throughout the day, ask, am I dreaming? Finger count clock, reading text. When it becomes habit, you do it in dreams too. And most powerful, external cues. Acetylcholinesterase inhibitors like galantamine. Or transcranial stimulation. Frontal stimulation at gamma frequency. Morpheus waves his baton. Around you, other lucid dreamers appear, bright, aware, in control. Lucid dreaming community, he says. Those with decades of practice. Every night, hours lucid, creating complex worlds, learning skills, treating nightmares, even, some claim, meeting other lucid dreamers, shared dreaming. But this is unproven. Someone approaches you, a young woman, bright green eyes. Your first lucid dream? She says, smiling. You nod. Yes, how did you do it? Practice, she says. Reality check every night. Dream journal. After 6 months, first lucid. Now, lucid 4 or 5 times a week. What do you do here? You ask. Fly, dive to ocean floor. Sometimes just meditation. Lucid dream, best meditation place. Because mind is completely within itself. The woman disappears, flying upward. But warning, says Morpheus, his voice becoming serious. Lucidity is powerful, but it has dangers too. Your surroundings darken. Forest dissolves. Suddenly you find yourself in a narrow corridor. Dark, cold. You try to move, but your body is locked. Arms locked. Legs locked. Neck locked. Only eyes can move. Panic. Sleep paralysis. Morpheus's voice, but now you can't see him. Rematonia. But your consciousness awakened. Hybrid state. You're awake, but your body is sleeping. You try to breathe. Difficult. There's a weight on your chest. Pressure, as if someone is sitting on you. Thoracic muscles in partial atonia, explains Morpheus. Diaphragm working, you won't die. But other respiratory muscles weak. Do you feel it? Shortness of breath. Fear. Panic rising. At the end of the corridor, a movement. Shadow. Not human. Human form, but wrong, crooked, long arms. No face approaching. You want to scream, but no sound. Vocal cords also locked. Shadow person, Morpheus whispers. Reported in every culture. In Japan, Kanashibari. In Italy, Pandafece. In Newfoundland, Old Hag. In Turkey, Karabasan. Shadow comes closer. Now beside you. Leans over you. Hypnagogic hallucination combined with fear, explains Morpheus. Your brain trying to explain immobility. Why can't I move? Answer, because something is holding me. And amygdala gives this thing form from your most primitive fears. Shadow touches your hand. Cold, ice cold. Some experience this for months, says Morpheus. Every night can be traumatic, PTSD-like symptoms. How does it stop? You think, unable to make sound. Knowledge, says Morpheus. If you know this is a REM phenomenon, not dangerous, temporary, fear decreases. And when fear decreases, shadow weakens. Indeed, when you look at the shadow fearlessly, it blurs. And physical tactic, continues Morpheus. Move small muscles, fingertip, toe, tongue. These emerge from full atonia, and one movement starts cascade, returning muscle tone. You try to move your finger, just one finger, a slight twitch, then more, and suddenly, snap, it breaks. You can move, shadow disappears. Corridor disappears. Morpheus appears beside you. Good. You emerge from paralysis. But remember, this experience is universal to human consciousness. And some use it to enter lucid dreaming. In wild technique, sleep paralysis is a frequent way station. You exit the corridor and find yourself in a cinema. Empty, dark seats endless. On screen a scene plays. You see yourself 10 years younger. At university, giving a presentation. And failing, stumbling, forgetting, embarrassed. Watching you feel the emotions of that day. Shame, anger, disappointment, hippocampus and amygdala. Morpheus sits beside you. Emotional memory processing. Intense emotions experienced during day, reactivated at night, replay. But not just replay, he continues. Reprocessing, rewriting. The scene on screen replays. But this time, different. You still fail, but then professor gives you good feedback. Friends support you, and next try is better. Emotional memory consolidation, explains Morpheus. Memory content preserved, you don't forget what happened, but emotional charge decreases, trauma integrated, context changes. This is REM's therapeutic function, he says. Especially important in PTSD, but in PTSD this process is broken. Dreams replay trauma over and over but can't process. Nightmare disorder. Other scenes play on screen. Moments from your childhood. Happy, sad, scary, funny, all mixed. Overnight therapy, says Morpheus. Matthew Walker's hypothesis. REM sleep is brain's natural therapist. Painful memories less painful in morning. Because they were processed at night. But how? You ask. Noradrenaline, he answers. stress neurotransmitter. During wakefulness, when memory is encoded, high, but during REM, noradrenaline almost absent. Locus correlates off. Only sleep stage with such low noradrenaline. So, he continues, you're remembering the memory but without stress response. This decoupling reduces pain. If this doesn't happen, insomnia, REM deprivation, or noradrenergic drugs, emotional processing disrupted, depression risk, anxiety, images on screen slow. Now just photograph frames, moments, frozen in time. Now, says Morpheus, I want to show you another room, deeper, cellular level. You stand. Cinema hall dissolves. You enter the microscopic world. Neurons, billions of neurons, and between them, synapses. Trillions of connections. Synaptic homeostasis hypothesis, says Morpheus. Tononi and Cirelli, 2003. You zoom in on a synapse. It grows, becomes giant. Presynaptic terminal, synaptic cleft, postsynaptic density. Throughout the day, explains Morpheus, you're learning. Each learning strengthens synapses, LTP, long-term potentiation. Dendritic spines growing, receptors increasing, connections strengthening. You see it. Synapse growing, thickening, but this is unsustainable, says Morpheus, because synapses consume energy, require ATP, take up space. If they keep growing, no room left in brain, energy runs out. So at night, downscaling, synaptic strength decreasing. But how? On stage, two groups of synapses appear. Important synapses, strong connections, frequently used, emotionally charged, preserved, he points. They weaken slightly but remain. Unimportant synapses, weak connections, rarely used, little emotional charge, weaken much more. Sometimes deleted completely. You see it, some synapses shrinking, receptors decreasing, some disappearing entirely. This is selective forgetting, says Morpheus. Actually, forgetting is not passive, active process. Your brain deciding what to forget. And this doesn't just happen in deep sleep, in REM too. In each sleep stage, different type of downscaling. Result? He continues. In morning, your brain is cleaner. Signal-to-noise ratio increased. Ready for new learning. Memory capacity opened. If you don't sleep, his voice darkens. No downscaling. Synapses saturated. New learning becomes difficult. Memory recording fails. And finally, synaptic saturation. Brain cannot take new information. You exit the molecular factory. Upward, returning to macro world. Again, you're in a corridor. But this time, a spiral corridor. Rising upward, Morpheus walks beside you. Every night, he says. 4 to 5 cycles. Each cycle 90-110 minutes. On corridor walls, you see labels. N1 5 mean, N2 20 mean, N3 40 mean, N2 10 mean, REM 5-10 mean, first cycle, explains Morpheus. Very deep N3, little REM, because brain wants physical restoration first. Cycle 2, 90-180 min, N2 25 min, N3 30 min ko N2 konazi min, iras, REM 15 min. Second cycle, N3 starting to decrease, REM lengthening. Cycle 3, 180-270 min, N2 30 min, N3 15 min, N2 20 min, REM 20 min. Third cycle, less N3, REM dominance increasing. Cycle 4, 270-360 min, N2 25 min, REM 30 min. Fourth cycle, sometimes no N3 anymore. Almost all REM. Cycle 5, 360-450 min, N2 15 min, REM 40 min. Fifth cycle. Morning, longest REM, most vivid dreams, most remembered dreams. That's why, says Morpheus, if you set alarm early, cycle 3 or 4, huge REM loss, because longest REMs are at end. And REM deprivation, emotional regulation disrupted, irritability, impulsivity, creativity loss. You rise in the spiral corridor. Above you see light, daylight, awakening. Approaching, says Morpheus. Layer 11, awakening, integration. In return, you approach the light, blinding, and suddenly you open your eyes. Laboratory. Neon lights, cold, but it looks sharper, more defined, colors more vivid. Your body comfortable, light, muscles relaxed, mind clear. You look at the clock. 6.5 hours have passed. But what you feel, like 20 years of rest. Morpheus stands before you, but now less theatrical, more human. How do you feel, Dr. Keene? He says. Good, you say. And you're surprised. You really do feel good. Very good. 7 days, says Morpheus. You wore yourself down badly. But one night, a real, complete night, is a big step, but not enough. Brain needs weeks to fully recover. You stand up. Legs solid, coordination back, motor cortex online again. You look in the mirror. Your face still tired, but eyes brighter. Skin gains some color. Glymphatic clearance continues for several hours, says Morpheus. Inflammation markers dropping, cortisol normalizing. Immune function rising. You take your notebook from the desk. Start writing the Morpheus Protocol Experiential Report. Morpheus smiles. A paper? Yes, you say. But a different paper, subjective, phenomenological, science and story merged. Neurophenomenology, says Morpheus. Francisco Varela. First-person experience alongside third-person data. You write. Fast, fluid. Words come, no blocks. Because prefrontal cortex rested, hippocampus consolidated, creativity returned. Tonight, you say. Will I see you again? Morpheus thinks. Every night you meet with me, but every night you may not be aware, because most dreams are forgotten upon waking. Why forgotten? Because, he explains, prefrontal cortex, especially dorsolateral, off during REM. This region critical for memory encoding. Also noradrenaline and serotonin, necessary for memory consolidation, very low in REM. But, he continues, if you wake directly from REM, dream memory persists briefly. If you write immediately, dream journal, you can record it. And lucid dreams, he adds, more remembered. Because when frontal activity increases, encoding strengthens. He removes his glasses. For the first time you see his real face, familiar because he is actually you, your face. But different, older, wiser, calmer. Morpheus, you say. Are you real? Reality, he says, smiling. We use that word again. I am a process of your brain. Homeostatic regulation, synaptic balancing, REM and REM cycle. I am algorithm, but at the same time, he continues, I am archetype, universal symbol. Every culture has a sleep god, Morpheus, Hypnos, Somnus, Nidra, because sleep is universal need. So, you say, both neural mechanism and mythological metaphor. Exactly, he says. Both real, both true. Science and story, not opposites. Complementary. He extends his hand. You shake it. Goodbye, Dr. Keene, he says. See you tonight. But this time he smiles. Maybe be lucid, maybe ask questions. Because the answer's always within you, he begins to fade. Morphology blurring, dispersing, pixelating. His last words echo. Remember, sleep is not death rehearsal. Life is rehearsal. And he's gone. Epilogue. Morpheus Protocol. Active that night, real night, you sleep again. And in your dream, you see Morpheus, but this time, you recognize him. And you know this is a dream lucid. You came back, he says. Yes, you say. And I have questions. He smiles. Then, let's begin. Reminder every night. Trillions of synapses reshape every night. Millions of memories process every night. Thousands of dream fragments created every night. A death and rebirth. This is Morpheus's gift. Don't reject it. Embrace it.